Holding awareness in the skin, the forgotten sheath, a sacred transmission on the most overlooked gateway to inner stillness, opening transmission. What if your skin, the very edge of your body, was not a barrier, but a doorway? What if the thin membrane that separates you from the world was not meant to defend, but to transmit, to tremble with perception, to soften into unity, to remember the soul's original boundary before identity took root? There's a subtle sheath, ancient, nearly forgotten, not the mind, not the breath, not even the emotional body, but a field of awareness held gently in the skin itself. This transmission is not about theory. It is an invitation to re-inhabit this lost layer of perception and awaken the most tangible, grounded path to the infinite, where the stillness of consciousness touches the very surface of the world, and the skin becomes a sacred horizon between form and formlessness. Let us begin. 1. The skin is not just flesh, it is a field. The human skin is often dismissed as merely a physical organ, a protective shell, a suit we wear while traversing the world. But in truth, it is the most immediate extension of consciousness into matter, the only part of the body that is constantly exposed, breathing in the world, filtering vibration, interpreting reality through touch, temperature, sensation. Science tells us the skin is filled with receptors, billions of nerve endings detecting subtle shifts in pressure, heat, moisture. But the ancient seers knew something even more profound. They understood that the skin carries its own awareness, not just as a sense organ, but as a sheath, a layer of the subtle body. And when we hold attention in the skin, not merely on the body or within the mind, we access a rare and stabilizing state of consciousness. A state that is not trapped in thought or floating in abstraction, but grounded, rooted, exquisitely aware. This is the gateway of the forgotten sheath. The skin as a boundary of sacred perception. 2. The sheath of contact, where the self meets the world. In yogic understanding, the body is not one thing. It is composed of layers, of nested fields, from the gross to the subtle. The skin is the sheath that interfaces between the outer and inner worlds. It is the living frontier, where the mind's projection meets the breath of the universe. Most people's awareness is pulled inward, into thoughts, memories, emotions, or outward into sights, sounds, digital stimulation. But almost no one lives in the skin. To live in the skin does not mean being superficial. It means being present at the precise place where you touch the moment, the feeling of clothes, the breeze, the breath brushing against the lips. All these are not distractions, but invitations to return to a more primary, direct mode of awareness. This sheath is not mental. It does not analyze or judge. It simply perceives, purely, intimately, directly. And when you hold awareness here, you enter a dimension of profound clarity, where life becomes sacred in its immediacy. 3. How awareness moves between the layers. Imagine your consciousness like light. At times it shines deep into memory. At times it beams forward into planning. Sometimes it rests in breath. Rarely does it remain on the periphery, in the quiet tingling presence of the skin. When awareness is held in the mind, it spins. When held in the emotions, it sways. When held in the breath, it slows. But when held in the skin, it settles. There is a stillness that does not need retreat. It remains even while you are speaking, moving, living. It is not withdrawal. It is integration. The skin is where the subtle and the gross are stitched together. This is why advanced yogis, without saying a word, can transmit peace just by being present, because they are inhabiting this outermost sheath, and in doing so their entire body becomes a radiant field of stillness. 4. The practice, holding awareness in the skin. This practice is deceptively simple. Close your eyes now and bring your attention not to your breath, not to your thoughts, but to your skin. Feel the outline of your body, not imagining it visually, but inhabiting it with awareness. Start with your hands. Can you feel the invisible boundary of your palms? The subtle tingling, the buzzing feel at their edges. Now feel your face, the cheeks, the forehead. Feel the air making contact, and finally feel your whole body wrapped in presence. You are not looking at your body, you are resting in it. Stay here. Breath will come and go, thoughts may pass, but your awareness remains at the surface. And in this, something sacred begins to awaken, a quiet hum of aliveness, a perimeter of peace. This is holding awareness in the forgotten sheath. 5. Why this layer stabilizes you during energetic turmoil. Many seekers, especially those who open quickly into subtle states, experience instability. Their energy surges upward, they lose grounding, or their awareness drifts too far inward and becomes unmoored from embodiment. In these moments, returning to the skin is essential. It brings coherence to chaos, because the skin sheath is where the wave meets the shore. It holds the nervous system like a bowl. It contains the overflow of pranic awakening without suppression. You don't need to fix the chaos, you only need to feel the skin. It brings presence back into form. It allows ecstasy and stillness to coexist. In this practice, you can move through spiritual initiations, psychic openings, and even overwhelming emotion without collapsing into confusion or dissociation. This sheath is your refuge, the temple built by the body to hold the sacred. 6. Everyday life as practice, awareness without withdrawal. The beauty of holding awareness in the skin is that it is completely compatible with life. You do not need a cave. You do not need to isolate. You only need to soften into your surface. Walking, cooking, speaking, listening, all become part of the meditation. When awareness is held in the skin, you are not drifting above life. You are fully in it, but without being consumed. This allows for a new kind of presence, one that is tender yet strong, quiet yet connected, invisible yet powerful. The forgotten sheath becomes a living transmission, and you become a bridge between the unmanifest and the visible world. 7. The sacred mystery of touch and contact. Why is it that a single gentle touch can soothe the heart? Why do we crave not just words, but presence? Because the skin is the sacred language of contact. It is where awareness transmits without formality. Even the act of placing a hand over your heart or feeling the sun on your back can become a spiritual moment. If awareness is held in the skin, this is not about stimulation. It is about attunement, about resting in the subtle field of contact without grasping. The skin becomes the altar, and awareness becomes the offering. 8. For those who feel numb, dissociated, or overstimulated. Many modern seekers feel disembodied, cut off from feeling, or overwhelmed by it. The skin sheath offers a gentle path back. Unlike deep shadow work or intense breath work, this practice is soft, non-invasive, and sustainable. It welcomes you home to the body at your own pace. For trauma survivors, those with chronic stress, or anyone navigating the rawness of life, holding awareness in the skin can be profoundly healing, because it does not require digging through the past, only resting in what is already here, on the surface, alive, and waiting to be remembered. 9. The skin as portal to the formless. Ironically, the more fully we inhabit the body's surface, the more transparent it becomes. The boundary begins to shimmer. You no longer feel trapped in the body, but diffuse gently throughout it. You begin to sense the space around the body as part of yourself. The air becomes intimate. The the silence between you and others becomes shared. This is when the sheath dissolves into spaciousness, and the body, once seen as solid, becomes a vessel of light, grounded in touch and open to the infinite. Mystical reflection. You have never been separate from the sacred. It has always brushed against your skin, waiting to be noticed, waiting to be felt. Let the forgotten sheath become the first place you go, not the last. Not when you are overwhelmed, but as your baseline of being. The skin is not your edge, it is your invitation to dwell in stillness without leaving the world behind. If this sacred transmission touched something in you, take a moment to gently subscribe or become a member of the channel. Your presence here strengthens this temple of stillness and allows more souls to rediscover their forgotten layers. In the next transmission, we will enter how to stabilize energetic openings that feel chaotic. A guide for when the inner current surges beyond control and how to ride it with grace instead of fear.